But first, we've become a nation of handymen and women, all caught up in the home renovation craze. And a lot of that has to do with the popularity of television programs. But a word of warning, what you see on those programs is only part of the story. For every home renovation success, there is a renovation disaster. And a lot of people have discovered it can also be a health hazard. Tinika Everard has the story.
Everything's gone wrong pretty much that can go wrong.
The reality of it was a nightmare.
The more I look at the house, the more it's becoming a nightmare.
Australia's renovation army is putting up the white flag, sick of living in construction war zones and putting their lives on the line to save $1. Wade Humphries learnt the hard way just how wrong renos can go. He shot himself with a nail gun, closely missing his heart. It's not Claire Roundland's body that's damaged, but walk around her home and you feel an injury isn't far away. The Melbourne property needs to be rewired, replumbed and replastered.
All of the major supports had broken and fallen upon themselves, and it was sort of supporting the roof. Any day that could have come down, and I had no idea.
In 2011, she purchased this renovator's dream. On the ad, it claimed
Re-stumped, rewired, just needed some tender loving care.
But it was all smoke and mirrors. Once the 50-year-old started her own renovations, she realised the previous owner had gone DIY mad.
When I took the plaster off, this is what I found. The plumbing had obviously rotted out this wall. Yeah. Also, when I took up the lino, this is the floor I found.
Lucky you didn't fall through it.
Well, you still might. He apparently did all of the wiring himself, and I don't know how dangerous this is, hanging down like this.
Well, it looks pretty dangerous to me, if it's live.
I think it'll be more like a decade by the time we're finished.
Grant Allen took on the task of renovating his home. That was 5 years ago.
Things like this, bathroom was meant to take 4 weeks, ended up being 3-4 months. The kitchen's taken about double as well, so about 6 months when it was meant to be 3 months.
At one stage, he was living in a house with no walls, but it wasn't enough to deter the 39-year-old. He's now doing the decking DIY.
Finding pipes and steel and an old bell. Took me 4 or 5 hours to dig one hole.
According to Australian property monitors, for the March quarter, Melbourne won the renovating stakes. They spent around $370 million on doing up properties. Sydney was second, $298 million. Brisbane, $138 million, and Hobart, $11 million. The top renovation suburb of Sydney is Mossman. Homeowners there spent $25 million in the March quarter alone. The suburbs Willoughby and Coogee follow closely. In Melbourne, it's Toorak at around $10 million, followed by Northcote and Hawthorn. And Brisbane's Camp Hill spends around $3 million. Ashgrove and Paddington also popular for renos.
You see a lot of stuff and you think, I could do that.
April Brooks was inspired by renovation reality TV. Even though she hired professionals, she was unhappy with the results.
It just seems that contractors or companies let you down, and nobody seems to care about just the little guy.
Carolyn Boyd from domain.com.au warns if you want to renovate, don't bring reality TV expectations into your home.
4 out of 10 people say they underestimate how much it's going to cost to renovate.
But renovations don't have to end in disaster. There are a number of safe and simple ways to increase the value of your property. David Hallett from Archicentre has these tips.
You might replace the toilet suite, you might replace the vanity in the bath, but you'd leave the locations as they were. You'd retile, you might replace the fixtures, you might replace the tapware. The kitchen's another good one. Again, a sort of a quickie makeover that might just involve replacing the bench tops, the cupboard door and drawer fronts, maybe the appliances as well.
It will save money by the time it's finished, but that's it. Hypothetically, if it doesn't end in divorce, I guess.
and some good advice if you happen to be renovating this weekend.